Welcome to HortTube. My name is John Putnam. In this video, we're going to do some garden tasks over here in the main garden in Raleigh, North Carolina. Actually, this is the second video shooting this morning because I put 3 plants in the new native garden this morning. That'll be a separate video. One of them was one of these ruby spice clethra that was planted here originally and has just gotten so big. It's just too big for this, this space. When you come in the driveway, we really need to layer this up a little better. The radiance abelia needs a little more sun. We've got bulbs here that needed more sun, and this is just going to be a much better space. The white clethra stays much smaller and it's going to stay there, but I may actually dig that up. It's leaning forward because it was in the shade of the other 2 ruby spice clethra. I may just pop it out of the ground and stand it up straight and be done with that. I'm going to have suckers in this area. Here's one as an example of that. Here's a sucker from that ruby spice clethra, new plant right there. You could take this, and this time of year don't even have to prune it. You could just go plant it in the ground somewhere as a 3rd ruby spice clethra if I wanted to, or I could cut it in half and put it into a container, just take a little bit of stress off of it. But this time of year in February, wouldn't be any reason why this couldn't be transplanted somewhere. We're going to, we moved one of the ruby spice clethra over there, cloudy day, so we can kind of do this without thinking about it as much, on a nice cool cloudy day. We're gonna give that clethra away. We gave some plants away in if you watched the last garden task video, we gave away a couple of these clethra and put them up on Facebook Marketplace, and 2 people arrived back to back really quickly. So we're going to call the second person for that that clethra. The clethra went to the other person, but just because they had driven over here, we're going to touch base with them and give them that big, beautiful ruby spice clethra. It can be cut back if you wanted to, but transplanting at this time of year, as long as you got a decent root system, it really doesn't even need to be cut back. I've got holes out here in the landscape now. I really want to feather in existing soil into these holes if I can. Okay, I don't want to go buy a bag of anything and dump it in there. If I had to buy a bag of something to dump in here, I want to try to fill it as much as possible with the soil that was already here, and then put something on the top. I just don't want to create little pockets where water is going to run into, create additional horizon. So I really just prefer to smooth this out with the existing soil that's here. Here's another. There's another one. Even with that little bit of root on it, probably if I cut this down to maybe 6 inches tall, that little bit of root on there probably would root out into a container. But there you go, created a lot of space in this neighborhood over here. I'm gonna straighten up this clethra in the next few days. And then you still see we have debris from cutting back those clethra that were picked up. We now have this new swath all the way across here that we're going to work out some new items for the garden. And one other thing, every single time I get into one of these kinds of projects, look at this vine. Look at this. There's a porcelain berry that's 8 feet tall that had come up in the back of that clethra. And see, it has the same stem color, goes to sleep at the same time, wakes up at the same time. I couldn't see it at all. So I make sure that I get in here and actually dig that thing out by its roots. Otherwise, it's definitely coming back. But man, I kind of enjoy occasionally going through here, doing hard pruning, hard cleanup, mulching, projects where I can find these kinds of things. We have a neighborhood so full of invasives that it will be a never-ending battle out here. I certainly don't ever want them to get to 8 feet tall and produce seed either. I'd like to have found this a long time ago, because I imagine it's laid a few seeds down here now. I just went ahead and dug it out and just turned it around right where it was in the same spot, moved it up the hill just a bit, and now it's more upright. As soon as it has some sun on it and leaves out this spring, it should fill in a little bit better. And I may do a little general pruning on it at some point after it flowers, but much better. So We've gone from, you know, 3 here to 1, and the 1 is a more compact version. 1 went to the native garden and 1 is going to be rehomed to someone else. The Shasta viburnum we've been working on tree farming over the last couple of years, and it's time to, I think, lift it up a little bit more. We'll just slowly lift it up over time. The first year we did pruning on it, it was really quite wide and it was leggy, and we did general pruning on it, and you really don't want to do general pruning if you can avoid it. It takes like 2 years for these things to come back out and actually flower again. Last year we finally got almost normal flowers on it, not quite. This year we'll get normal flowers, and I can see it's just budded up along every single stem. Every single one of those branches that comes out and leaves out is going to end up with flowers on it. So going to be really, really showy. But I'm going to take a few, we got a branch here, here's a path, right? And there's a branch coming here. So I want to go ahead and start lifting this up. So ultimately the branches will be up over our head and up over a clethra that's back there and up over some camellias that are on the other side and a distilleum that's in the front, so on and so forth. Just lifting it up. It's a wide plant, and we don't have a lot of room for wide plants in this garden. So we're going to let it be wide, but we're going to let it be wide up here. It's just going to take a minute. I'm going to make sure you're using the right tool for the job. These limbs are, you know, like 3/4 of an inch here. Steph, if you want to get in here and show, but there's one off the back that now lifts that up off of that clethra. Some really doesn't change the structure of the plant all that much. This one that's coming back toward the path right there, I'm going to cut it off. And again, ultimately, I don't think I'm going to change how it looks all that much, especially after it leaves out. You're not going to see these things that I did down in the middle of the plant. If we have, you know, here's a branch that comes up out of here, comes across, turns, and it's rubbing here, here, and here. 3 different places this one's in the way. So let's go ahead and take him off of there like that. And so I think that's better. That was a rubbing branch. And then I've got this one that just comes off of here and cuts right across this larger one and rubs. I should have taken this one off a long time ago. It's already rubbed a little wound over there. I think I just have to get some vertical. Well, let's get a couple off the front here still. Here's another low one that can definitely come off of there. Another low one here. Okay, and then right tool for the job where I don't have to strain all that much to do it. I think there's one more. This one right here, Steph, right there, you think? Sure. Okay. Okay, and then I'll take my hand pruners and any vertical piece that's coming right up through the middle of the plant, we'll take off. Anything that's obviously growing back toward the middle of the plant, we'll take off. And, you know, branch that's just obviously going to cause a problem in the future, go ahead and get rid of them. Here's, you know, and part of the rubbing branches is our fault, because when I cut it, when I did the general pruning up at the top of it, the limbs just went in all different directions when it flushed back out. So that's some issues I caused that I'm now in here thinning out. And then again, any just vertical, you'll get these vertical pieces that just go straight up through the middle of it. Those I definitely want to remove. What's that? Is that 2 plants? I can't tell. Steph was just asking, is that 2 plants down here? And I can't tell. It looks like maybe it was 2 original plants that were grown together. And of course, one of them could ultimately end up dying in the future. You know, can't really control that. It's not, I'm not a giant fan of the putting 2 and 3 cuttings in a container, but here's a branch. Look at this, come here close, Steph. Here's a branch, a little branch that comes off of this one. And then for some reason takes a hard right-hand turn and rubbing on the branch that's next to it. That's the kind of thing that needs to go. Okay, and not cause lessen any future issues we might have with it. If I can actually get it out of there. Okay, there you go, without causing any more damage. But if I see any more of them up here, you know, I'll take them out. I think that's ultimately about all I'm gonna do right now. But that's the kind of thing, you still got time. And I haven't taken, those are old shaded out limbs. They weren't gonna have many flowers on them anyway, but I haven't really taken away from the flowering that it's gonna do this year. A lot more air underneath here, a lot more bright light's gonna be under here. Everything under here, even though it will take some shade, will now thrive a little bit more with a little bit more bright light on it. We had a very crowded neighborhood over there with the Edgeworthia and an Encore Azalea and a Salvia and what else? Sarcococcas over there and Burning Love Leucothoi, and it was a very crowded neighborhood over there, and where we had the Cestrum Parkii. I moved. I don't know what the order of these videos, whether those 3 plants in the native garden that got moved over there will be first or this will be first. But there was the American Beautyberry that left here gets really wide over the course of the season, like out to here. Although it's a much more compact one, it's still this tall, and it was every bit of this wide. And it's just too wide for this spot. So we moved the Cestrum that was over there, which will play nice in this spot because it literally just goes straight vertical. And we actually tie it together down here at the bottom. When it comes out of dormancy, it'll have like 25 suckers at the base of it. We'll cut that down to about 7 or 8 or something like that, tie it together down at the bottom, and then it grows perfectly vertical. It'll only be about this wide. That's how wide it was over there. It blooms all summer into fall, really, one of the last things that was blooming, and the hummingbirds can take advantage of it, and we'll be able to see them down here by the street. But it's a better plant just to still get some vertical growth here. We had an upright butterfly bush out there, if you remember, and it got backed over because it was on the corner on the other side of over there, and it cracked it open. We tried to tinker with it for a little while, but it was obviously had enough of an issue that so whatever we put here to try to get an upright, narrow, vertical element is on the inside of the fence now. So there you go. There's another job. As you can see, if you're coming to the open garden, which is, you can go over to the HortTube.com website, go to the store. If you're looking at coming to the open garden, either Friday night or Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, if you came last year, you can already see, if you're following along with these videos, how different this garden is going to be, plus the addition of the native garden over there. It's going to be a very, very different space if you're interested in coming this year. And again, the tickets are over on the website. A couple more things coming out and going. The Grand Cascade butterfly bush was really great back here for a season or two, and then the flowers were much more diminutive in time, and has not been as impressive as it originally was. So we're gonna rehome that. Maybe, I mean, probably has a hair more shade than it would like overall, so maybe somebody getting it out in a little more sun. It will, easy to dig that thing up and put back in the ground, and it's already been cut back, so it'll hit the ground as running, doing it in February as if it never happened. And this is a white wedding hydrangea that's just in way too much shade. It was so crowded. I had that viburnum nudum back here that went over to the native garden. This Grand Cascade, feels like there was something. Oh, there were 3 of these hydrangea paniculatas originally. What's over there? Birds. Birds are flipping the leaves over like crazy. I mean, this robin over here is like, get out of my way because I'm working over here. But all of these leaves, they're flipping them over all day long, trying to find any caterpillars or anything that's attached to the back of them, and doing good work out here. We like to watch them and listen to them, and we're feeding some of the other birds, which have emptied that bird feeder fast. Bird feeder just went up there. Had to get a new one. The squirrels, of course, wreak a little havoc out here. But we're also going to rehome this hydrangea paniculata. By the time this video goes up, they will have already been rehomed. That one right there, we're gonna clear out some perennials that are in front of it and move it out a little closer to the path. And we have one more of these white weddings out by the front in a lot more sun that's much more compact, and it's a fantastic hydrangea paniculata. So is Moon Dance. Moon Dance is the other one out there. And I'll prune both of those pretty soon, so you'll see them in upcoming videos. And this one right here will get pruned a bit and slide over to there in another video after these perennials are removed. So there's 2 more plants that's going to allow us to kind of redesign this space back here a little bit. Maybe quite possibly an oak leaf hydrangea will slide into this larger space that I'm standing in now. Got to prune a couple of leaders out of a couple hollies here that are stretching a bit. This golden Oakland, you can see that leader up there on the top of it. It's got 2 leaders, so I'm going to take the back one out and then I'll shorten that other one just a bit. But I got to go get a ladder to do that. So you can see how nice this holly actually is, and it really hasn't had, it's had 0 pruning, right, Steph? I mean, I don't think we ever sheared anything off of this.
I don't remember any.
Yeah. So it has these 2 leaders it's tried to form. I'm actually going to take the one that's not centered in the plant, just take that one all the way back like that, and it may a little gap here that'll fill back in pretty quickly, but that piece is gone. And then I'll just take this one up somewhere right in here that's got, you can see the dormant buds are behind the leaves, and so if I just cut, right above one of these leaves cleanly like that, that's all I really need to do. And I'll maybe slow a little bit of this material down that's just trying, I don't know why it's all of a sudden decided to select 5 leaders and then have one take off like that. I have no idea, but anyway, it'll branch back out from the side of that. If I need to come up here and do any other pruning on it, I'll do it later. The back side of this thing is pretty green because it's in a lot of shade, but the front side is golden, and that's the side we can see it from. But this is a golden Oakland holly. How's that, Steph?
Great. Okay.
The Jekyll Island bignonia is growing on the screenplay holly just a bit. This really nice native, I say just a bit, it was a lot. Nice native vine that's covering up this kind of rickety chain link fence that we share with the neighbor right here that maybe one day I'll do something about, but for now, I actually have the top post to repair this piece, and it's pretty far down the list right this minute. That's what I'll say. But at some point I'll fix this, the top of this fence. This screenplay holly has really grown a lot. This is a great, this is a hybrid holly between 2 species. Was it latifolia and I don't remember what else right this minute. Anyway, but it's got some real hybrid vigor in it, and I think ultimately it may take a few years for all the landscape designers to find it and all the nurserymen to find it and everybody to find, out about this plant. But ultimately, I think this one's just going to be everywhere as a screening plant. It has grown, and I'm not exaggerating, every bit of this growth right here happened at the very end of the season, that, which I'm going to cut off because it's just stretched and thin. But it's gone from this, Steph, to this in a very, very short period of time. So again, it just hit the ground running. There's a lot of root competition back here. A lot of reasons for it not to have grown this fast, but it has just taken off. And I don't even want these pieces right here. They're up above everything else too. So I think I'm just going to come down here pretty far. Probably should have used a bigger set of pruners right there, but I know that seems cruel, but it's just wasted growth right this minute that, is racing up ahead of everything else. So I'm going to take it off and let it just kind of reboot. This thing, it's self-fruiting. So that's important on, knowing that about hollies. I don't need a second one out here. And it was absolutely covered in berries. I'm taking the opportunity while things are dormant here, should I cut this off? Should I not cut that off? Kind of decisions. Make those decisions while things are dormant. Pull vines off of things, get invasives out if I'm down here and I see something trying to grow up through the middle of it, which, definitely in this garden would not surprise me at all with all the invasives that are growing right behind it. But again, get in here and clean it up. And now I'll fertilize here in the next few weeks, the whole garden, and that's it. That's all this thing really needs. And I'm getting a few leaves out of it while I'm here, while I can see in here. But I think after the second year of roots in here, this thing is going to probably double in height this year. Steph asked me if I've changed the pyramidal habit of these 2 plants. No, not at all. The tendency of a plant to be pyramidal is still going to be, for a leafy evergreen like that, is still going to take hold. It's just going to figure out a new leader. I left that one piece up there that I'll select as the leader, and then if anything else tries to race it, I'll cut it off just like I did on that Oakland holly. Same thing here. And I don't mind that this thing has, it'll be 5 feet wide ultimately as it goes up. So if it has 2 or 3 or 4 of these little upright pieces in it, I'm not concerned about that at all. But it's not the type of plant that just picks a single leader and it's live or die based on that, like a pine or some conifers do. If you cut the leader out, it's just going to select a new leader, and I can decide. I'm 100% in charge on these leafy evergreens if I don't want that to be the leader, because sometimes maybe the leader will just all of a sudden be over here, right? And that's kind of what was happening on that Oakland holly, is the second leader was like, it was off-centered from the plant. So I cut that one off. So I can pick a new leader, I can shear these. You're really in charge of these leafy evergreens, and it'll just pick a new leader, and it's going to grow in that shape regardless of what I try to do. If I keep cutting the top off of it, it will get wider, but if I ever walk away from it, it's just going to immediately go vertical, which is its tendency. I really like this season. It's nice to be out working again, as we're heading towards spring. It's 37 or 38 degrees when we started this video this morning. I think we've shot back-to-back videos, the one over there in the native garden now, over here, and maybe it's 43. The ground is workable. I can get these plants out. I can get them moved. They're not stressed by it. I can prune the crazy limb off here, prune the crazy limb off there. I think we've opened this up a lot better here. I mean, we'll put one additional shrub back in here, but I think opening this up and opening up a few other places that we're having the opportunity to open up is allowing you to kind of see through and see the chartreuse colors back here and the foliage color and the flowers. There's things flowering out here, allowing it a slightly better view through the garden overall. And you can see this beautiful golden Oakland holly. That was the first cuts I've made on it since it's been in the ground. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I cut a limb off of it at some point that was whatever, but look how full that thing is, even in part shade. I think it's a great plant, and it's another self-fruiting holly. If you're interested in just a one-of-a-kind like this, it would be a great corner plant. There you go. Let us know down below what you have going on in your garden. I asked this the other day, and so many of you still have snow on the ground and other things happening wherever you are, and I'm sure you're anxious to get started. But we're going to be doing seeding video. I don't know the order of things as we're filming these, but we have a seeding video upcoming. Tons of seeding that we're doing this year, more than ever actually. We've got some people donating some plants for the native garden over there. The wood chips were free, the seed is less expensive. Really trying to go all in on showing you that you don't have to necessarily break the bank to do this. And then exchanges with neighbors. I mean, we're giving a few plants away, and we've had some other people offer us some things too. So there's some ways to get in here and do this for a little less money. And I like doing it this time of year when it's not 95 degrees outside. So thank you guys so much for following along.